What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the CaliKidOfficial Podcast. This is episode number 24, I do believe. So let's get right into it. So this past weekend, we got some breaking news within the NFL. Cam Newton has signed a one-year deal with the New England Patriots. You know, as a Patriots fan, you know, this is very good news because it gives our offense, you know, that dual threat at quarterback. So the details of the deal, it's a very incentive deal. The minimum amount of it is $1.05 million, and it could be worth up to $7.5 million. About $550,000 is guaranteed, and there's $700,000 in per game roster bonuses. So in total, there's about $5.75 million in incentives. So from what was reported, there was only two teams that really reached out and inquired about him, and that was the New England Patriots as well as the Cleveland Browns. And Cam has went online. He's very ecstatic about it. He's already doing workouts with one of the receivers, Muhammad Sanu, and he said that it's not about the money, it's about the respect, because a lot of teams basically doubt him because of his injuries that he's been dealing with for the past couple of seasons. So this gives him an opportunity to show that he still has it, and then, you know, after this season, if the Patriots want to, they can re-sign him depending on what he does, because they're pretty much strapped for cash this season because they're dealing with dead money from the Brady and Gronk contracts. So they have about a little over probably $23 million in dead money. So that's going to come off the books next season. So they can re-sign him if they choose to, which would be dope. But I thought that was pretty cool. Also, speaking about my team, the Patriots, the NFL has finally come with a resolution for the incident where their production crew was filming for their series called the Do Your Job series, where they basically each week they would capture a particular part of working as an NFL employee, whether it be, you know, coaching, but this particular week was the advanced scout. So they basically got fined because they filmed some of the sideline of the Cincinnati Bengals. I personally didn't see any harm with it because basically what they filmed is exactly what an advanced scout sees. So I don't really understand why it was that much of a big of a deal, but it's probably partly because of their past, so they're just going to be punished because of their past. But they were fined $1.1 million and lost a 2021 third-round draft pick, and they're also barred from filming games this season, which all this is doing is going to add more motivation to my squad to, you know, get back to that Super Bowl. So it is what it is. Also in sports, the Lakers have reached out to J.R. Smith and are going to be signing him to the roster. This is due in part because Avery Bradley has decided to sit out. You have several different players sitting out due to their concerns of maybe playing basketball games for the NBA might take away the attention from, you know, protesting and enacting social change and things of that nature, as well as, you know, the COVID pandemic, you know, is spiking in a lot of different states. California, Florida, Texas, New York is spiking in those areas, and the bubble city is actually in Florida, but I'll be getting into that a little bit later. Also, it's looking as though Tyson Fury might have cheated in his bout with Deontay Wilder. If you didn't know, there's been pictures floating around showing the padding being removed from Tyson's gloves, and it's showing his knuckles. So this is something that I touched upon on my podcast, my episode 7 podcast. So I wanted to pull it up because I did talk a little bit about that possibly happening. So hold on. All right, here we go.
The first fight, it was a very different experience. And then also when I was looking at the fight, some of the things that Fury was doing, he was fighting very dirty.
Which he was.
He would put Wilder in like headlocks and lean on him and punching him in the back of the head and stuff like that. And that's why the ref had took a point off. So some people are saying that Fury might have been cheating with by putting something in his gloves, because
Yeah, that putting something in his gloves, because from what the doctors are saying from the X-ray, he has a dent in his skull, and you don't get dents in your skulls from just boxing. That's never happened before. So he did something, and this isn't the first time that an allegation of cheating has surfaced with Fury. There was allegations as well during sparring, where it was proven that the padding was manipulated or removed in the gloves, as well as him fighting Vladimir Klitschko. There was some manipulation going on. So, and this isn't the first time that a boxer has gotten caught loading their gloves or manipulating their gloves. There was a fighter who didn't want his gloves to be touched during one of his bouts. He kept pulling his hand away, and then eventually it came out that he was cheating. And then, of course, you have the Margarito incident. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that the same thing happened during this time. Because if you look at his fight with Otto Wallen, he got abused in that fight, and then to come back from that and then fight like he did this time, I do think that there was some shenanigans going on in there. But it's interesting that the mainstream media isn't really talking about it, and they're trying to sweep it under the rug. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be more to this, because if it is found out that he cheated, not only will this be a lawsuit, but it's going to shine a bad light on the WBC, who is trying to defend this. So pretty sure we're going to be hearing more about this in the future. But moving on from that, one of the up and coming prospects in high school basketball by the name of McCord Maker has decided to commit to Howard University. This is significant because, as you know, HBCUs don't get as much funding as, you know, the more notable schools. So a prospect of this level is going to bring attention as well as more funding to the school, which is dope. So I wanted to show that. Hold up. All right, here we go. Yeah, so the name is familiar because he's related to Thon Maker, who plays for the Detroit Pistons, as well as Mature Maker, who plays for the Rio Grande Valley Vipers, which is a part of the G League. And he says, I was the first to announce my visit to Howard, and others started to dream, what if? I need to make the HBCU movement real so that others will follow. I hope I inspire guys like Mikey Williams to join me on this journey. I am committing to Howard U and Coach Kenny Blakeney. Kenny Blakeney, that's funny. I want to thank Coach Cal and Coach KP of University of Kentucky, Coach Cronin of UCLA, and Coach Hardaway of Memphis for considering me. It was a tough choice. Maker is a versatile 6'1", 111 prospect considered in the top 20 of the country. He was born in Kenya. His family is from Sudan and lived in Australia until moving to California in 2015. He finished his high school career at Hillcrest Prep in Phoenix. Mikey Williams, who Maker referenced in his decision, is a top-ranked 15-year-old boys basketball player in the nation. He said earlier this month, as protests grew across the country following the death of George Floyd, that attending an HBCU wouldn't be too bad. Which they should do this, because if you switch this up by, you know, going to a historically black, you know, school, one, you're gonna get more coverage because you're a big star. You're not going to be lost in a shuffle as you would going to one of these powerhouse schools where the name of the school is bigger than that of its talent. And it also is going to give these schools more funding and spotlight. So that would be dope too. So hopefully, you know, other prospects choose to do this as well. You know, a lot of different athletes are changing things up. You got some guys skipping college basketball altogether to go straight to the G League because, you know, as you know, the NCAA is a very biased and fraudulent organization. For years and years and years, they made money off the backs of the athletes, and the athletes didn't get any sort of form of compensation, but everybody else that's not actually, you know, creating a product is benefiting from them. They can't even make money off their own names, which is stupid, but there's been laws passed to change that. So a lot of shifting is going on within, you know, sports. So that's dope that he decided to do that. And, you know, hopefully, you know, other recruits decide to do that as well. So I thought that was pretty dope and interesting. Also in the news, apparently Washington is under fire, and they're more than likely they're going to change their name. So if you don't know, you know the Washington Redskins, as they're called. They've been going by that name for the better part of at least 80 years. The name has always been derogatory, and calls have been pushed for it to change for many of years, and now it seems as though that they're finally listening, because the person who owns the naming rights to their stadium, FedEx, has basically put the pressure on them to change the name, as well as Nike has taken steps and removed their merchandise from their store as well. So at some point it's going to happen. So Ian Rappaport says, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, in the last few weeks we've had an ongoing discussions with Dan, and we are supportive of this important step. My understanding of the Redskins situation, based on conversations with several sources, a name change is likely. It would truly be a monumental decision. It is time. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell's statement was supportive as well. It is time. I've been saying that they should have changed that name. You could change it to something as simple as the Washington Natives. There you go. Name change done. I mean, it's not that hard. I mean, they might push for them to try to change the logo as well, which it wouldn't be hard to come up with another logo. But I think the name more so is the thing that's rubbing people the wrong way. And, they should have got on it and changed that, in the beginning. But moving on from that, we get the first look at the NBA bubble city. So it basically looks like the AAU setups, where they have the different courts set up side by side, but it's looking pretty cool so far. So they got you got the Pacers court, and then next to them, this looks like, I think that's the Magic. Either the Magic or the Heat is next to them. So that's pretty cool. It's going to be pretty interesting because the players are going to be locked down there in that bubble city for 3 months. So that's going to be interesting. The NBA is supposed to be starting up at the end of this month. So that should be pretty cool. But moving on from that, in music, we recently had the 2020 BET Awards, and right now I'm about to get into the actual winners of the different awards. So we're going to start first with the album of the year. Of course, the nominees were Lizzo, Meg Thee Stallion, Beyonce, Her, DaBaby, and Roddy Ricch. And as I said on the last podcast, Roddy Ricch, he won for that. Some of these winners of the awards were kind of lazy, which I'll get into once I get to it. But next category, we had Best Female R&B and Pop Artist. That went to Lizzo. I said maybe Kehlani should win that because of her album, but I did also say Lizzo could possibly win because she had, a great year. So that's why they gave it to Lizzo. She's a more notable artist, but I felt as though Kehlani had the better project. If y'all haven't listened to it, check it out. Best Male R&B and Pop Artist, that went to Chris Brown, which I said should go to him because he had the best project out of, the candidates, which were Usher, Weeknd, Khalid, Jacquees, and Anderson .Paak. Best Group went to Migos. Now, this is one of the lazy picks I was talking about. The Migos haven't put out any music, so I don't understand why they won this award. This is basically lazy. If anything, this award should have went to Griselda because they've been having an astounding run. They've been dropping several projects which have been getting critical acclaim. So that should have went to Griselda. Best Collaboration went to Chris Brown and Drake, No Guidance, which I said it should have went to that because that was a dope song. Best Male Hip Hop Artist went to DaBaby, which I agree with that. He's been dropping some dope stuff. His MVs remind me of the 90s when people actually put time and effort into their visual production. So congratulations to him. Best Female Hip Hop Artist went to Meg Thee Stallion. She's had the best year out of all of the female MCs. So congratulations to her. Video of the year. Now this was another bullshit. They gave it to the Hyatt record. This song won this last year. Y'all gonna give it to him 2 years in a row. I understand that Nip passed and whatnot, but this wasn't the video of the year, not by far. Out of all the videos on here, which was No Guidance, Bout, Say So, Hot Girl Summer, and The Box, this was probably near the bottom. I personally would have gave it to Chris Brown, Baby, or Roddy Ricch, because those three were dope visually. So this was a lazy and bullshit choice for video of the year. We go video director of the year. They gave it to Tiana Taylor. She been doing her thing with the directing, so congratulations to her. I might have thought it might have went to Cole Bennett because he's been directing a lot of the up and coming artists' music videos. Best new artist went to Roddy Ricch. I did say it would probably most likely go to him. YB and Corday, he's been in the game for a while. He really shouldn't be on the best new artist. Summer Walker, she just recently came up. Pop Smoke, Too Soon, Lil Nas X, they already gave that to him. And then Danny Lay. So Roddy Ricch, he got 2 awards. Then we go to, what is that, gospel. They gave that to Kurt Franklin. I don't really listen to gospel. Best movie, they gave it to Queen Slim. I did say they might give it to Queen Slim. My choice was Bad Boys for Life. Then we get Best Actress, went to Issa Rae. I did say it might go to her or Zendaya. Best Actor, of course, they gave it to Michael B. Jordan. I personally thought that Amari Hardwick should have won that. But I guess because he doesn't have as much material as Michael B. Jordan, that's why they gave it to him. Young Stars Award went to Marseille Martin. Sportswoman of the Year went to Simone Biles, the Olympic gymnast. Personally, I would have gave it to Clarissa Shields or Naomi Osaka. Both of them had very significant victories and career achievements last year. Clarissa Shields pretty much is undefeated, and she held all the belts within the female boxing at one point. Well, she still holds all the belts and she's undefeated. So I thought maybe it could have went to her or Naomi Osaka, who won the Grand Slam title, beating out Serena Williams. That was a big moment last year. But Simone Biles, I think they gave it to her. But she probably had just as dope of a year as the other two. But moving on from that, Sportsman of the Year, they gave it to LeBron James. I personally thought they might give it to Patrick Mahomes because he won the Super Bowl. But I also can't fault him for giving it to LeBron James because he's been taking very good strides both on and off the court. So, congratulations to him. I talked about his company that he built up and started on the last podcast. So he been doing this thing. Then we get to the BET Her Award. They gave it to Beyonce featuring Blue Ivy, Wizkid, and St. John Brown Skin Girl. Viewers' choice went to Meg Thee Stallion, Hot Girl Summer. The Barbs came out to support. Best International Act, Burna Boy. That's like just Burna Boy's award, huh? They always give him Best International Act. I think that's kind of lazy, but it is what it is. Then Viewers' choice, Best New International Act went to Shasha from Zimbabwe. Not too familiar with her, but congratulations to her. And that pretty much wraps up the BET Awards. As I said, some of the awards I feel as though they got correct. Others I felt that they were pretty lazy with. But moving on from that, apparently everybody and their mama wants to go at Akademiks. So as I was seeing, everybody and their mama are trying to go at Akademiks. So Freddie Gibbs, Meek Mill, as well as a variety of other people have been taking shots at him. So let's get into the Freddie Gibbs portion. So this was brought up because on an episode of Everyday Struggle, they discussed Freddie Gibbs calling Jeezy irrelevant, to which Ak replied that someone that only sold 25,000 records isn't in a position to call somebody irrelevant. So that pretty much spiraled into this whole online back and forth between the two. So right here he says, well, Freddie Gibbs says, I'll give a bad bitch $5,000 if they admit to sleeping with Akademiks, to which Ak says, Freddie, don't play yourself. You're not even more successful than me. Relax yourself, kid. You underground. Don't try to ever play me. If you really want to try me, a blogger, let's go. And he says, bring all your statements of how much you made as a rapper, and I'll bring up tax statements of what I made as a blogger, and let's compare. You can't compare to Jeezy. He been lit for mad years. You a little nigga, and I doubt you compare to me, but drop your shit. I'm down, Mr. Gibbs. So yeah, Gibbs dropped a project called Alfredo or something like that, which has been getting some good reviews from people. I personally haven't listened to it. Jeezy, he dropped pretty much like a throwaway EP. So maybe he used that, maybe Gibbs used that as a way to take a shot at him to say he's musically irrelevant. But he dropped TM 104, the Legend of the Snowman, a year prior, which did very well, and it actually charted higher than Gibbs' latest album. So it's kind of interesting that he's saying that when he put out a throwaway EP. But it continues. Access, I love you for the mere fact you love talking shit like I do, but you trying to talk crazy to Jeezy, who a legend. Show me what you made in the last 3 years as a rapper. I'm a blogger. I'll compare. If you don't beat me by an outstanding margin, shut the fuck up. You can't compare to Jeezy. I want Freddie Gibbs statements on how much he made from 2017 to 2020. I'm telling that little nigga he can't even compare to me. How the fuck you gonna compare to a nigga like Young Jeezy who got a classic catalog, poster shit, nigga, advances, tax statements, all of that. I've been working this hard to embarrass one of y'all rappers like this for years. But all is in your court. Statements are tax returns for 3 years. If you can't beat a blogger, keep Young Jeezy name out your mouth. You may be salty, but you cannot compete. So yeah, like a lot of people like to take shots at Act because they personally don't like him. But at the end of the day, it's very corny. We are in the middle of, protesting and Black Lives Matter and all this type of stuff, and we supposed to be coming together, and here you have several people banding together to try to, shit on somebody who, like everybody else, is entitled to voice their opinion. And so y'all mad at him for voicing his opinion. But we're going to get more into it. Says, my accounting tight, but it is what it is. You love talking shit. I'm waiting for 2017 to 2020. You better dominate a blogger. So basically, this is more of him trying to get Gibbs to show, if he can back up what he's talking. He says, and by the way, I ain't no huge Jeezy fan, could care less. I can't stand niggas who finally get lukewarm after almost a decade and a half and start talking shit. Enjoy your little hot street, nigga, but don't get it twisted. You just got on, and you not no legend like Jeezy is. And then Freddie finally responds. He says, my son's room bigger than your whole house, bitch. Stop it. And then Axe says, we can actually post proof to find out if that's actually true. My new house is 8,500 square feet. I bet you 20,000 that your son room ain't bigger than that. Put your money where your mouth is. So yeah, Gibbs is just trolling pretty much. He put out some t-shirts with Axe's face on a Teletubby and stuff like that. Personally, I think the whole thing is corny. And like he said, like Gibbs said some pretty suspect stuff. Like he says, I won't prove that you didn't have oral sex with Tekashi. Like, why would you even say something like that? Like, why would, even if that did happen, why do you care what another dude does, in his personal time? That's kind of weird. Then Ben Baller chimes in, so that's how he gets brought in, and basically Act exposing him, saying that he's a known scammer and that he's been finessing black rappers for years. Says he got hella stories from people, but because of some rappers he's still cool with, nobody want to expose him. Says the whole jury game is a scam. Shame on any rapper who buys jury from Ben Baller. Nigga been scamming for years. Preying on the rappers who from inner city who just got an advance check. He takes the whole thing and lies to them about giving them the best quality. I mean, hey. And of course Meek Mill chimes in, which Meek Mill has been acting very corny. Like he's supposed to be on this whole prison reform thing and all this type of stuff, but then he tries to act like a tough guy on the internet, which I don't understand that. But he says, Akademiks cancel because he's a bad police and our culture don't need them. He also gassed a lot of beef that got people killed and hurt and never donated $1 to the culture. We're going to holler at you next run, champ. You're signed to the police, one, and then he says he gassed beef that got people hurt or whatever. I think he's referring to the war in Chirac, which was basically when Act was shedding light on what was going on in Chicago. And pretty much when he did that, that pretty much put the spotlight on these Chicago rappers, because prior to that, I'm pretty sure not a lot of people even knew about these Chicago rappers, so he pretty much put a spotlight on that. He didn't do anything different from people that was already covering them. I think the other only people that was covering them was probably maybe Say Cheese or somebody like that, but Ack was the one that blew up off of it. So he can say that, but then when you rapping in your songs about shooting this person, robbing this person, killing this person, aren't you contributing to the death and killing of people too? So it's kind of a hypocrisy. So that's why I think that, it's kind of corny how they're all trying to jump on him or whatever. It is what it is. Some of the fallout from, people going at Ack. He got suspended from Twitch and Complex because of his comments about Chrissy Teigen, who sneak dissed him in the past, which is why he responded. So the only reason why Ack be going on these different, outbursts and stuff is because people be coming at him and he's just defending himself. And then people get mad when he defend himself or go too far, which he did probably go a little too far when he basically said, instead of sneak dissing me, you need to be trying to open up your mouth to make sure your husband don't flop and stuff like that. So that had a little bit of a ripple effect, and pretty much he's not going to be on Everyday Struggle for 2 episodes or whatever, which is pretty much temporarily suspended him for a bit. So there's that as well. Moving on from that, Meek Mill might be in some trouble. He's being sued for allegedly stealing lyrics for his 2 songs, 100 Summers and Cold Hearted 2. So the name of the company is called Dream Rich Entertainment, which is a boutique label, and that's basically like a small label pretty much. So the saying that he had access to lyrics, and he basically listed them for his 2 songs, and so they've named Meek Mill, Atlantic Records, and Dream Chasers in a deposition, and they're suing for $300,000. So pretty interesting, right? You going at a blogger, but yet you got all this stuff, popping up about you, and then you got Quilly, talking crazy about Meek Mill as well, and he hasn't responded to that. So always finding it interesting how that people tend to pick and choose who they want to go at and whatnot. But yeah, as I was saying, like, Meek got a lot of stuff going on. He need to be addressing some real stuff, like that lawsuit, and a dude in your own city talking crazy about you, your baby mom. Like, shit is crazy. Yeah, I don't like when people try to gang up on somebody because that's what everybody else is doing, being sheep and stuff. It's kind of corny. But moving on for that, we finally get Pop Smoke's posthumous album. It's called Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon. I had a chance to listen to it. It was pretty interesting. So it has 19 songs. The features are Quavo, Lil Baby, DaBaby, 50 Cent, Roddy Ricch, Future, Rowdy Rebel, Karol G, Tyga, Lil TJ, Swaley, and King Combs. The standouts from this project for me was Make It Rain, The Woo, Mood Swings, Got It On Me, and Dior. On track 14, which is called Something Special, it samples the song So Into You by Tamia, which is an R&B artist, from the 90s to the 2000s. Then on track 15, it samples Differences by Genuine. They just sped it up a bit, and overall I gave the project a 15 out of 19, which comes out to a 79% or 7.9 out of 10. So overall it was pretty cool. Some people were questioning the features, but you gotta look at it like this is his last project, so they put as much star power as possible on there so it can stream well as provide for his estate and to take care of his family. So that's why you have a lot of the bigger artists on here. You don't see too many New York artists because they don't have as big of a name, so it's not going to stream as well. But you do, of course, you got 50 Cent. He's from New York. You got Rowdy Rebel. He with the whole GS9 crew. They supposed to be coming home soon. And then you got Lil TJ on there as well. And then, of course, P. Diddy snuck his son, King Combs, on there on the track Diana. And for what I was reading, apparently Cowboy was supposed to be on Diana, with King Combs, but I guess they took his verse off. And the Karol G, that's the Hispanic crowd, so they're trying to get that demographic as well. So overall it's pretty cool. I think the way that the track list was set up, it kind of seemed like a little bit of filler in a sense. I know they wanted to put as many records on there as possible, but it kind of felt like a lot of filler to me. I wish that there were more than just 2 singles, which I think there's probably 3. The ones that we know for sure is, of course, Make It Rain, and then I think they're gonna market The Woo as a single because it got 50 and Roddy Ricch on there. Got It On Me, I believe, is gonna be a single as well. They put Dior on there because that's gonna help it stream well, and they do that to boost the streams of previous hits that came out. So overall, it's a pretty cool project, and they finally they changed the cover art. It's basically like this metal rose type of thing. I don't know the significance of it, but that's what they changed it to. You had people designing cover arts for it. There was this one that I saw that was pretty dope. It basically had like Pop Smoke, and like his face was shrouded in smoke, and like his face and stuff was like superimposed behind it and stuff like that. So I thought that one was pretty menacing, but I guess with the time frame wouldn't have worked if they would have had to like get in contact with the person that actually did the cover art and then pay them and then the whole 9. So they just went with that. But overall, it was a pretty cool project. But moving on from that, dominoes are starting to fall. So an associate of Jeffrey Epstein by the name of Ghislaine Maxwell has been arrested. She was basically like his second in command when it came to finding minors and stuff for him to sleep with and stuff like that. Like the whole thing is just sick. She was arrested by the FBI in New Hampshire for procuring underage sex partners for Epstein, and she's also accused of partaking in the sexual abuse as well. It's like the whole thing is sick. Epstein, he died by suicide or whatever, but they basically killed him and got him out the way. So if she mysteriously disappears, you already know what's going on with that. There's a lot of big names that's been tied to this. That's why you've seen a lot of CEOs and stuff step down from these different companies, because they know what's about to hit them. And apparently she has a lot of information. So if she does survive, you're going to be hearing a lot of names, within the media about this as well. The whole thing is sick, if you ask me. And then of course they've been trying to get Prince Andrew to come over because he's involved in the shit as well. There's photos of him with this Ghislaine woman, and you have several people that have been venturing to Epstein's properties. President Trump, he's tied up in this. Hillary, she's tied up in this. A whole bunch of different people. So we're just gonna have to see what comes from this. That's just the first domino to fall. I'm pretty sure it's going to be more stuff coming. But also in the news, the U.S. has made a deal for the drug Remdesivir, and it's pretty much angered a lot of people. So basically what the U.S. government did is they signed a deal where they would be given a 3-month supply of the drug before anyone else, to help the American population. And the company that makes it is called Gilead Sciences, which is based in California. Basically the deal goes like this. The deal is to make bulk of the 3-month production available to the US. And at first, the drug was being donated, but with the demand being so high, is now being priced at $2,300 to $3,100 per treatment. And they've given the okay to other companies to allow for generic versions to be made. You gotta look at it like this. If it was another country and the company that made the drug or medicine or whatever was within that country, they're gonna take care of their own before they take care of everybody else. So this is something that anybody would do. So But you know, you always gonna have people upset over stuff. So some people then commented on this. You have Wahi Yakub from University of Sussex called the U.S. agreement disappointing news. It so clearly signals an unwillingness to cooperate with other countries and the chilling effect this has on international agreements about intellectual property rights. It says the company is working as quickly as possible to enable access worldwide. Yeah, and you gotta look at it like this. They were donating it at first. It takes a lot of money to develop a drug, billions of dollars, so they have to now mark it up or whatever. But at least they're allowing other companies to make generic versions of the thing and not being, greedy or whatever. It says early studies testing Remdesivir in patients hospitalized with COVID found that those who received the treatment recovered quicker than those who didn't. It is the only drug licensed by both the US and the European Union as a treatment for those with severe illness from the coronavirus. Dr. Peter Horby, who was running a large study testing several treatments for COVID, told the BBC that a stronger framework was needed to ensure fair prices and access to key medicines. The British Prime Minister Boris Johnson's spokesman James Slack declined to criticize the US for the move. He said the UK had a sufficient stock of Remdesivir for patients who need it, but didn't specify how much that was. Head of Danish Medicines Agency Thomas Sindorovitz said the move could endanger Europeans and others down the road. I have never seen anything like that a company chooses to sell their stock to only one country. It's very strange and quite inappropriate. No, it's not, because the company is in the US. So as I said, they're going to take care of their own. If the company was in Europe or China or whatever, they would take care of their own before everybody else. And the US needs it the most because they have the highest amount of cases at this point in time. So of course, the US is going to look out for the US. So there are many people around the world who are very sick, and we want to ensure that everybody has access to the necessary life-saving interventions, he said. Gilead had been developing Remdesivir for years as a viral treatment with millions in U.S. funding before it was tried for coronavirus. The consumer group Public Citizen estimates that at least $70 million in U.S. public funding went to develop Remdesivir. Gilead said its supply should increase by the end of September and meet global demand after that. It says some countries should have enough recurring needs from the supply they receive for patient testing and other programs. So yeah, it's not as though that these countries don't have any. They've been given, supplies for testing needs. And it says they expect to spend more than $1 billion by year's end on testing and manufacturing. As I said, it takes a lot of money to develop these drugs, so that's why they're charging $2,300 to $3,100 per treatment course. So, but a lot of people have recovered from the virus as well. Ward pointed out that another drug that may help people with severe COVID-19, the cheap steroid dexamethasone, is long off patent and available globally. Dr. Penny Ward of King's College London noted that many countries have legal provisions that allow them to prohibit the exportation of drugs to other countries during an emergency, which is what this is. It's an emergency. It is unreasonable to expect that the U.S. government should deny their population access to drugs manufactured in the U.S., she said. Yeah, so this is pretty much a nothing. They're ramping up production, so it's going to be available to everyone. So, it is what it is. Also in the news, popular YouTuber Shane Dawson is in trouble due to past transgressions. This isn't the first time that he's been in the news for getting himself into trouble. I'm pretty sure this is more of the same. He's done things for joking about disabled people, to making fun of pedophilia, to making racist remarks and stuff like that. So now he's being hit where I heard YouTube has suspended monetization from all 3 of his channels, and he himself has said that he should lose everything, and that's pretty much what's going on at this point in time. So it says YouTube has stopped allowing Shane Dawson to make money from adverts on his 3 channels, which have 34 million subscribers between them. The decision comes after the vlogger apologized for having uploaded multiple offensive videos, including appearing in blackface and using racial slurs. It's like these guys get so big and then they turn around and do stupid stuff. And he's a repeat offender, so we'll see how long this lasts. Another YouTuber, Jenna Marbles, she made videos apologizing for videos she's made in the past, which more than anything, she pretty much cast the light on herself, because the videos, I've seen them. The one where she was like doing a parody of Nicki Minaj, I think it was done more so in a playful manner, but with everything that's going on, people are being extra sensitive, and you know, people are feeling the pressure of people on the internet, so they're taking steps to try to like mitigate themselves from being ridiculed and stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting how all this stuff is playing out. But it says on Friday, Dawson posted a video titled "Taking Accountability," where he apologized. He said, "I should lose everything." He said, "I have put so much hate on the internet." You have, and you are starting to lose everything. Says he became the streaming giant's original stars after launching Shane Dawson TV in 2008, building a reputation as an online shock jock of sorts. The 31-year-old has 22.4 million subscribers on his main channel, but has lost almost 1 million subscribers in the past month. In the past, he has posted videos insulting people living with disabilities and joked about pedophilia and hypothetically murdering a woman. Yeah, the pedophilia thing, he sexualized Willow Smith when she was 11 years old. That's very sick and disturbing, and it's just weird all the way around. YouTube confirmed to BBC on Wednesday that it had indefinitely suspended monetization. The move comes after U.S. retailer Target announced it was in the process of removing Dawson's books, including "I Hate My Selfie," a collection of essays by Shane Dawson. On Tuesday, YouTuber Tati Westbrook published a video for home accusing Dawson and another vlogger of it having manipulated her. Dawson was also criticized by actors Jada Pinkett Smith and son Jaden after an inappropriate video resurfaced relating to daughter Willow made when she was aged 11. According to Two-Filter, which first reported YouTube's action, the platform has taken similar steps in the past against Logan Paul after he posted a video showing an apparent suicide victim in Japan, and after Jay Station faked his girlfriend's death. Yeah, Logan Paul has did a complete 360 since then. He's done a lot to make up for what he did. You know, it's not gonna change what he did, but at least he's turned things around, and he's been more of a role model for kids, I should say. You know, everybody is bound to make mistakes, but when you repeatedly make them over and over and over, it's like, how many chances should you get? And this isn't Shane's first, transgression, so we'll just have to see what happens with that. It says, we're seeing a change in the dynamics here, in an acknowledgement that things we maybe once pushed under the carpet should no longer exist. YouTube's move comes as Facebook faces a damaging boycott by advertisers over how the social network deals with hate speech. Yep, a lot of advertisers have pulled funding from Facebook because you have these different groups running hate ads and stuff like that. So that's what's going on. And YouTube got in trouble a while back with advertisers who were pulling out. So they're more on hand when it comes to how they deal with this type of thing. They're not going to tolerate a lot of stuff like they once did because of fear of losing ad revenue. Yeah, that was back in 2017. So Shane is pretty much being canceled off of YouTube. It's like, people that do stuff like that need to seek counseling, if you ask me. But moving into the last part of the podcast, I wanted to talk about New York City Council. They've passed a budget to reduce the NYPD budget by $1 billion. I mean, it's an interesting step, but it still doesn't address, the actions of the actual police, because police around the world are still doing the same things, and they're actually laughing while they're doing these things. So there still needs to be more accountability, but at least, some steps are being taken. The money from that funding, from the $1 billion, is going to be reallocated to summer youth programs, education, family services, the New York City Housing Authority, park recreation centers, and broadband networking and public housing. So at least the money is going, to something good. If anything, I think the requirements to become a police officer should be stiffer. You shouldn't only have to undergo 3 or 6 months of training. It should be at least a year or two before you can become a police officer. Which the funding as they reported, has stopped the incoming class of about 1,100 officers. Certain departments are replacing our officers with different service members to handle different levels of crime. If it's not like a violent crime, then they're going to send different representatives to deal with that. So that was pretty interesting. Yeah, right here it says the new budget cancels the July incoming class of 1,100 new officers. NYPD will be shifted out of school safety, crossing guard positions, and homeless outreach, and overtime will be reduced. Mayor Bill de Blasio agreed in principle to budget cuts, but said it was a balancing act of trying to change the city and keep it safe. And of course, you have some people disagreeing with it. Black folks want to be safe like everyone else. We just want to be respected. Yeah. It's like you got these officers mad because a light is being shed of their injustices, so they want to quit and act a damn fool because they getting out of pocket. All you gotta do is treat people with respect and follow the law. You want people to follow the law, but yet y'all breaking the law when y'all going around killing and shooting people when that's not even needed, when they could be arrested and restrained in non-violent manners, because I've seen it done multiple times in very volatile situations, so there's no excuses. So that's going to pretty much do it for this week's podcast. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Make sure you leave a like and a comment if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify or everywhere else, I also appreciate you all for tuning in. I have some new merch on my store. I got some new fanny packs on there. I'm also selling face masks as well, so make sure you guys check that out. Also, make sure you check out my album Euphoria. That's available on all platforms. And until the next one, peace.
CaliKidOfficial.